Hola, hola, my queen bee bakers, and welcome to the edible high heel shoe class. Now in front of us we have 3 different shoes. We're going to be making a 4th. I am going to show you how to make a plain simple chocolate shoe and how to get rid of the stuff inside, because you are going to get this, but we can get rid of it. How to make this Sally shoe. Now I left the back just to show you how we make this pattern, and I will show you how to get the inside as well. And I left this shoe that broke because I want to show you how to repair it and how you go about not throwing it away and getting frustrated. So before we get started, make sure you do have a shoe mold. If you don't, I have a link below the video in the description box where you can grab one. So let's get started. Alrighty, before we get started, make sure you have your shoe mold and make sure it's nice and clean. You scrubbed it down. I've been using this several times. So the whole inside is clean, the outside is a little bit dirty and full of chocolate. There are magnets on there, magnetics on there, so it will attach to itself. You do not have to put any extra clamps. I did try putting extra clamps and it made it uneven, letting chocolate seep through, so don't put any extra clamps. I know you might get nervous, but the magnets will do the job. So make sure it's nice and clean on the inside. As you see, the outside has chocolate, but not the inside. If you leave any chocolate residue and you pour in some other chocolate, you will be getting that color effect within the chocolate. And if you're going for a marble effect, great. But if you're not, you have to start all over. So what you want to do is get a bag of candy melts, or if you're using chocolate, you can use chocolate as well. Candy melts just works better for me as I melt them in the microwave. So all I did was take one bag, and one shoe will take one bag. So one bag is approximately $2.50, and if you're lucky you get them on sale and use your coupon for $1.99. So that's not too bad if you consider the cost that's going into the shoe. So make sure you get a full bag, because you will be using a full bag. You will be melting the chocolate in 30-second intervals. Again, I add coconut oil to all my candy melts, approximately about a teaspoon to half a teaspoon, depending on how thick or thin you want it. Just keep in mind, the thinner, the faster it will melt. So you want to keep some thick consistency. I put half a teaspoon in one bag because this is for the chocolate heel. And it's different than cake pops or treats or anything else. You kind of want this to have longevity. So what you want to do is get your chocolate, and you're going to go in the heel first. So you're going to pour your chocolate into the heel. And it has sort of a thickness in there, so that's what I want. And then you're going to tap till you see you get all the air bubbles out. And if you don't get all the air bubbles out, that's okay, as long as it looks nice and uniform. And then we're going to put more chocolate in there. You're going to put a lot of chocolate in there. You kind of want to put the whole cup. So I left a little in there, but you kind of want to put the whole cup, because what we're going to do now is put it all around the mold. So we're shaking it. You want to get the tip, especially the tip of the heel, and you're just basically swishing it around. And if you get some chocolate on your mat or your table, that's okay. It's going to be messy. Just make sure it's going everywhere, that you get the whole heel covered. Now, if you feel like this is too tedious, you can always get a sponge brush or a paintbrush, whichever you prefer, and then slather the sides. I don't like using this until it's time to put more chocolate in there, because we're going to put 2 coats. We are going to need 2 coats because if we were to only do one coat, the chocolate heel would crack and break. So as you see, it's dispersing with the chocolate throughout the whole mold, and that's what you want. You're basically just working the chocolate in there. If you want to get your fingers dirty, that's fine. You can get your fingers dirty. Now, if you want that seamless look on the inside and you don't want to put any extra fondant or anything in there, then you're gonna have to work fast. I don't mind because we're gonna be doing a second coat. So all I'm doing is just dispersing the chocolate all around. Your chocolate should be hot enough to maneuver, but cool enough to start setting and not melting. Like I said, it'll get messy, but that's okay. This is the fun part. So now you want to tap down. Now if you see any areas like this one right here that doesn't, I'm going away from the camera, but I just want to get that tip top. So I see some chocolate, I'm gonna get it. Basically, I'm just maneuvering it up there. All right, so now there's extra chocolate on the bottom right here. You can bring it back this way to the heel. And just tap, tap, tap. So what you want to do, it's pretty nice and even. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the fridge and let it sit. While we have the red one sitting in the fridge, I brought out the pink one. Now you can see it's a little uneven, but that's okay. We're just going to scrape the bottom and we're going to even it out. Now I'm just scraping it with a cutter. You can scrape it with a butter knife, or if you have something like a small knife, anything that will smooth it out. Now you see it's shiny right now. We can make it suede by just rubbing it with our hands, and you see it takes the shininess away, and it's kind of looking like suede now. So that's how you would achieve the suede look, is by rubbing it with your hands. Now you also want to get the heel nice and straight. You can also do it by rubbing down on a silicone mat, like so. And that's basically melting the chocolate and firming it at the bottom. You see now it's straight? Perfect. Now with the inside, because I will show you on the red one, but on the inside you will get this clumpiness if you're going to do a second coat. Now again, you can go in there with a cutter, a tool, anything that works for you. You can also dip a spoon in hot water, and you're basically becoming a craftsman of your shoe. Now, what I highly suggest is you put this shoe in the mold before you start scraping off the excess chocolate, just so you are more careful and you don't break it. The most important thing, do not break it. So definitely put it back in your mold and then start this process. But if it breaks, it's okay, we can put it back together. It's chocolate. Now, if you don't mind shaving it and getting that smooth look, and it will take a little bit of time, not a lot, just a little. As you can see, it's getting smooth right there. And then you get those pink shavings and then you take them out. But you see the nice smoothness right there. But if you don't mind that and you just want to put some fondant over it, just cut out some fondant, and I'll show you how to do that right now. We would just cut out some fondant and put that in there, and that would be the bottom of the shoe. Make sure you take the shavings off. Let's get some fondant. Now, depending on what you want the inside of the shoe to be, completely up to you. Let's use some black since I have black with me right now. Now, it doesn't have to be too thin, it doesn't have to be too thick either. It's just whatever you like or whatever the request for the order that you have. Completely up to you. You are the mastermind behind this shoe. So I thought this cute pink shoe can turn it into like a nice Kate Spade themed. So all you want to do is basically measure. That should go in there. And then cut. Now, it doesn't have to be super pretty when you're cutting it. Just keep in mind the size. Because once it's in there, you can maneuver it with your hands. So you kind of want something like this. And then you're going to put it in there. Fold it like this. Squeeze it in there. And maneuver it with your hands. Smooth anything that you don't like. And if you feel that you need to glue it in there, you can definitely glue it in there with some edible glue or some piping gel. They both work on the chocolate. You can also cut, if it's too big, you can make a line with your knife. You can go in there and make a line, take it out because you already know the size. Trust me, no one's really paying attention to the inside detail of the shoe, just the outside. But it's nice to have a nice clean shoe on the inside as well. So again, fold it, put it in there. And all I'm doing, and you want to do all this with it being in the mold since it's going to be your first time trying it. And that's how you would cover the bottom. Now this, we can smooth out. You already know the process. But it looks gorgeous already. So the next step to getting a cute Kate Spade themed heel or pump is we're going to roll out some more black fondant. And I have some edible glue. I have the recipe below. Or you can just buy some edible glue and use your coupon. And then we're going to cut out some holes. You can cut them smaller, bigger, whatever you feel like. Put some cornstarch so it doesn't stick. And try to roll the fondant out a little thicker, thinner than usual. Just so it doesn't pop out too much on the shoe. We kind of want to make it seamless. So as thin as you can. And then we get the holes and we cut them out. Now depending on how many holes you want or how many dots you want on the shoe, it's completely up to you. Keep in mind that it is chocolate, it will be temperamental. So while you're doing this and cutting out all these holes or circles or dots, keep it in the refrigerator because, like I said, chocolate is temperamental. So is candy melts. So you want to keep them in the refrigerator as long as possible. Sometimes this doesn't work out, so necessarily don't do it this way, but always cut them out, take it out of the puncher, and then so on and so forth. I'm going to make several of these, and I'm going to put this in the fridge, and then we're going to decorate it. Alright, I've cut out the dots, and I actually flattened out some more fondant, and we'll be cutting out a bow. And this template link will be in the description box below as well. And my shoot is nice and cool. I just took it out of the fridge. I'm getting a little bit of edible glue, and I'm going to be sticking it to the side of the shoe. Now, depending on where you want your dots, you gotta have a pattern going. So I'm gonna do this nice pattern like so. So I'm gonna put that there. Put that the wrong way. There we go. And just have a good pattern going. Make sure you don't get any on your fingers because it will get stuck to you. Now, this is what I found that works for the chocolate is the edible glue. But if something else works for you, then go ahead and try that or use that. Now, if you don't want that many dots, you can put less. Completely up to you. And if you feel the chocolate melting in your hands, you can put it down and start working on the mat like so. I felt it melting in my hands. Again, it's chocolate, so the colder the better. Do not stick the mold in the freezer. Now, I say this because when I stuck it in the freezer and I was testing it out, it did crack the chocolate. Now, chocolate and cold don't mix well. They don't do well. So keep in mind, leave it in the fridge. It should only take at least 15 to 20, depending on the chocolate you're using. And don't put it in the freezer. I know if you're running late on an order and you need to stick it in the freezer, go ahead, but no more than 5 minutes because you will crack your chocolate that way. I promise you, that's why I'm telling you. So I'm just keeping the pattern of the dots going in between one another. But you can make it however. Like I said, you don't have to do this many dots. I'm also going to be putting a bow in the front. It's coming along really cool. Now, I'm going to do one side, and then I'm going to do the bow. So we got this one side complete. She looks really awesome. Kind of reminds me of Betsyville and Kate Spade. Pretty cool. Alright, let's go ahead and cut the bow. So just get your X-Acto knife, follow the bow. You're going to print this out, and then you're going to cut it with scissors, and then you'll place it over your fondant and cut it like so. They kind of look like goggles. This is the easy part. Alright, so all you have to do is bring in the two sides, get some edible glue on there, some right there, put it in there, put it down in here. Now if you want to put 2 straws on each side of the bow, you can. You can make the bow shiny by adding piping gel or the edible glue. You do want to cut out a piece of a long fondant that's going to go in the middle of the bow. It's about 1.5 inches. Put some more glue. Like so. Now depending on which side you want to use, you use this side or this side. and go from there. Pinch it or cut it off. Again, you could put 2 straws on each end. And you can even do it at a gum paste so that it dries faster and or quicker. And if you want to leave it overnight so that it plumps up, or you leave it however you want it to set, and then put it on the shoots so that it stands out, it's going to look really cool. Just finish putting all your dots on there. And I'm just putting them in between. And then you could set your bow on there. Super easy, super cute, super fun. Right? Adorable. Now, if you feel like your fingers are hot enough, or if you put your hands in a hot towel or run them under water, you can even smooth out the edges with your hands. So there's several ways to do this, so don't feel discouraged. There's a couple ways to do everything. Something therapeutic about doing this shoe and all the dots. Okay, she's a beauty. So like I said, if you want to, you can leave the bow out so it'll set, or put it on there just like that. I prefer to set the bow and I'll let it dry. Put 2 dowels or 2 straws in between there and let it dry, and then put it on the next day, but completely up to you. There's your Kate Spade heel. Now let's get back to our red heel. Alright, our heel is nice and firm, hard as a rock, but if you can see, there's a little bit of see-through through the chocolate right there. And right there, that's where we need our extra support. So don't take it out quite yet. I know you want to be eager and look at it and see how pretty it is, but don't do it. Get your extra chocolate and go in there and give it that extra support it needs. You can smooth it out and do layer by layer. Now this is what I was talking about. Or you can, you know, just go on in there and just make sure it has all that chocolate it needs. It's completely up to you, but you can always shave it off later. So you can be neat or you can be thorough. And you can always fix the inside with fondant. Now make sure there's no spots that are going to be weak, meaning needs more chocolate in them. Just go in there. Sponge brushes work best, but streak ones work as well. Completely up to you. Just go in there and make sure that there's no see-through, and just put it to the light. You'll see what I'm talking about when I talk about see-through. You'll see if it's super see-through or not. I'm just going in there and giving it more sturdiness. So it's not too bad, the streaks on this one, but if it's your first time, you might have a lot of streaks, and that's okay. The most important part is making sure the tip of the heel. Now don't worry, you can always take this off with your finger, so don't fret about the outside. Just worry about the inside. I'm just putting extra, it's like glue, it's like strength. Putting extra strength in your shoe. Because these shoes can be delicate. Just making sure everywhere. It's got to be thorough. And I want to show you guys this part because I want you to be thorough as well. So as you see, nice, no see-through parts. I'm going to put this back in the fridge, and then I'm going to show you another shoe, and then we'll come back to this one. Alright, so let's get to the broken shoe. So if you get a shoe and you feel like you did everything right and it still breaks on you and you took it out of the mold, it just means it needed more or extra chocolate. So it's not you. You can put it back in the mold and you can cover it up with more chocolate. Or you can get some fondant and cover up what you have. So let me show you how this is what we do. How we will do this. So you're going to roll out some fondant. Now the fondant needs to be a little on the thicker side. And it's going to have to be very long and very wide. And I'll show you why. Because you need to cover the whole shoe depending on what color and what you want to do with the shoe. So the chocolate will be the base of your shoe. So this is pretty thick, but you're still going to need a big piece to cover the whole shoe. Now, if you're going to be covering the bottom, you're going to need a bigger piece. But I usually make Louis Vuitton shoes out of my broken ones because it's just fun. Alright, so before you put the fondant on there, you are going to want to put some edible glue, piping gel, mirror glaze, whatever it is that you have to work with. And you're going to put it on the shoe. You're not going to douse it, but you are going to brush it on there lightly. And you're going to work fast depending on what you're using because it will dry up. Now, if you are working with a perfectly fine shoe, this is the best way to make it shine. Keep that in mind. So I'm just trying to cover up the whole shoe on the top, not the bottom, because like I said, I'm going to make this a Louis Vuitton. So the bottom's going to be red. This is going to be the sticky, tricky part. Like so. Now you can do the inside as well if you want. I mean, completely up to you. So what we notice is the crack right there. So we're going to put our fondant. I'm going to stretch the fondant a little bit. I am using Fantasia fondant, by the way, and I will have a link below because it stretches and it works so beautifully in all my projects. So what I'm going to do is literally stretch it. And if your hands become sticky, just put some cornstarch on them. You should be fine. So you're kind of maneuvering where the crack is to make a new lip for it. Now, you don't have to do it this way. This is just, it's like covering a cake. You just gotta work it. And then when it's done sticking to everywhere that it's sticking to, you can cut it with your razor, your carving knife, whatever you're using. This is why I like Fantasia fondant. It stretches, gets the job done. Now, keep in mind you want to make that lip right there. You don't want it to look like it was torn, so pinch it together, like so. And if you need to, put a little slit in there, in the middle, like so, just so the air bubbles can escape. You can always put more black in there, or different heel, or sole, a different sole in there. And you can go in there and paste the black with the edible glue, or you can stretch it all the way. But I get impatient sometimes. So what I'm going to do is go around and start taking off extra fondant. Be gentle. This is a work of art, so treat it like so. Now the inside doesn't matter much, like I said. All that matters is that you're covering up your mistake. Okay, so now just pinch the corners right here in the middle of where the sole and the heel meet. This we're going to tuck underneath. We're going to bring this flap this way, like so. Now you can get some scissors, and scissors do work best sometimes versus a razor. As long as you got that glue there, you should be fine. Perfect, seamless. You can even put some cute diamonds on there. So make sure you raise the part where that mistake, the light is hitting the bump so you can notice it more, but you won't really see it. Scissors will be your best friend when you're working with the heels. So you're basically just bringing it all together, pinch it, pinch it, cut it, bring it down like this, so on and so forth, and just keep cutting with the scissors, dragging it down like this, and cut it with the scissors. Because remember, if we're going to make a Louis Vuitton out of this, we're going to make the soles red. I mean, the outside red, yeah, of the sole. So we'll just cover, cover, cover. Don't worry about the inside. We're going to cover all this in red. Now, if you want, you can cover it in black if you'd like, but you're going to have a really thick shoe. And for your first time, that's okay. Now, just keep pinching. Get all the excess black off. Alrighty. Now keep in mind, you kind of have to work a little fast because it is still chocolate. And I'm using my razor for the back. Don't worry about your mistake because we can fix that too. So I'm just trying to take off any excess fondant that we do not need, that we're going to put the red fondant at. So we're going to take that all out. Boom. Now, and then we just smooth this out. You can smooth it out with a fondant smoother or your rolling pin. What would look cute is diamonds going down there. So I think I might do that. You can make it black or you can make it nude or tan or whatever it is you want to do. Just like we did with the other one. Now let me get some tan fondant. Before I get the tan fondant, we're going to cut out the excess. That way it just doesn't dangle on the inside right here. Like so. Because right here it really doesn't matter, but you don't want it dangling right there. Alright, let's get our tan fondant. Alright, you're going to get your tan fondant and you're going to roll it out. And just like the other one, you want to get it enough to elongated enough for the shoe. Now I want to make this a nice clean cut because Louis Vuittons are nice, clean, and not sloppy. And plus, this is not a dark color, so the darker colors you can't really tell the insides, and with a lighter color you can. So let's see how this looks going in the shoe. Let me grab the shoe from the refrigerator. I do also have this mold where I can put some more fondant on top of the inside of the heel, or I can imprint the heel itself with the mold. Now this mold is from Calico Cake's AZ Molds, and I will have her information in the box below. As you see, it has the imprint. Completely up to you how you want to do it. I feel like this is going to be more narrow for some reason. So just going to make it a little bit more narrow. I love how that's on there. Let me get the shoe. Now you are going to want to put some edible glue, piping gel, if you're going to stick it in here like so. So I'm going to make it a little thinner. I'm going to go in there with my scissors, just so I can get a nice straight fondant edge. Remember, you can smooth it out once it's in there. That should be good. And voila, how beautiful does that look? She looks gorgeous. Now, obviously you can't really see the inside. You can apply more black or even paint it black if you want. But it looks pretty awesome right now with that Louis Vuitton in there. Again, it's completely up to you how you want to color the inside. You don't have to cover it in fondant, but it gives it that nice suede look. Also, you can paint it if you have paint. Make sure your mistake is not visible. She's looking fabulous. And then the bottom, same way. Apply the edible glue and put the red underneath that, which we're going to do next. So you're going to roll your fondant out. Remember to keep putting your shoe in the refrigerator so that it does not get too hot and start melting. You're just going to go up from here to here. So get some of your edible glue and or piping gel. Put it at the bottom exactly where you want it to go. Like so. Here, here, and the back of the heel. So make sure you have all that. Place it on the fondant. Bring the fondant up like so. Flip it over. We'll put some more on this side right now, but you would have to put a bigger piece of fondant and you wouldn't have that problem. The great thing about this fondant is that it stretches, so that's good. Every step, just keep in mind that it's chocolate, it can melt. I would do the sole of the shoe last, just because you're going to be pushing with your hands in, and you don't want it to, squish the Louis Vuitton symbol. I love this fondant. But whatever edible glue or piping gel that you use, it should be able to do this. So you should be able to get that same effect. Now you're going to do that with the heel as well. You don't want to switch anything. Make sure the chocolate's good. If you feel like it's melting, put it back in the fridge. I'm just going to cut out a sliver of the red. Right there. Now again, you can do this in pieces. It might take a little longer only because we're working with chocolate and fondant. Keep that in mind. Going to put that in. Doesn't have to be this big either. It can be smaller. I'm just showing you. Oh, I'm just showing you exactly how I'm doing it. And you would just cut this part off. Measure it and cut. And all it is for the illusion for people to see the red bottom. Kind of made some finger indents right there because I was manhandling it. But again, you can stretch it out. Make it shiny, make it matte. Let's put this in the fridge. I feel like it's melting a little bit. And then we will work on the red one. Alright, so keep in mind that you can paint these. So if you don't want to do the fondant version and it's too tedious for you, you can also paint these. So do a red shoe and just paint everything else black. Completely up to you. Now there's two little things right here, one for the thumb and one for the index or your middle finger. And you just pull. Look at that beauty. Gorgeous. Now you're gonna hold from the middle right here or like this. And or you can just like an ice cube tray and then pull. Now if it doesn't come out, do not be too rough with it. Give it a couple knocks because you don't want to break it. And if that's there, if you have extra chocolate anywhere, just take it off. I didn't put enough chocolate there. That's okay. I can cover that up by putting chocolate in there now. Look at that. Gorgeous. Now you can make this a Christmas shoe. You can put green chocolate in there and then the rest be red. So many things you can do. You can make a simple mistletoe or some leaves on top like so and make a mistletoe. You can do a bow. The possibilities are endless. So just get creative, figure out what you want to do with your new shoe mold and with all the knowledge you have gained from this class. I'm just doing a simple bow. Now this is more of an in-depth class. It is a little longer than most classes, but because I wanted you guys to understand that you can get it right. Beautiful. Like I said, I like the simple chocolate ones. Now you can also lay out some gum paste in here, put it flat, do one side and the other side, and get that, if you were using gum paste, you know, flatten the gum paste out, maneuver it with your hands, use cornstarch, do both sides, cut the excess gum paste off, and then add some edible glue, and then you put the mold together and let it mesh up. Make sure it's a nice big chunk of gum paste. If you're going to use fondant, you're going to have to wait and let it sit for at least a week in the mold. So that's why I say use gum paste. So any impurities that you don't like, you can get rid of. And you know how to shave this off. You can put a nude sole in there. Whatever you want to do. If you want to smooth it out with your finger. Like so. Whatever you want to do. She's a beauty like that. So she's nice and simple. So let's put her away and let's work on the Sally patchwork dress. So with the Sally shoe, it's just patchwork of fondant put together. And again, it's the same. We're putting piping glue or edible glue or piping gel, whatever you want to use. you're going to get a piece of fondant, roll it out, and then you're going to make one side straight. Let's make a longer side straight. Another side straight. So we're just going to line this up like that. And if you don't have enough, bring it up. Bring it up. Fold it over. You can cut that off later. Like that. You can cut it with your scissors or with your razor. So you're basically just lining it up like as if it were a puzzle. Now this doesn't have to be like that either. You can cut it off. You can cover it with another piece of fondant. So you're basically just doing patchwork in lines. So I'm going to cut this up. Make sure you do put Mariglaze or edible glue. And again, the recipe is below for edible glue. And however you want to line it up, just make sure you got 3 straight edges or at least 2 straight edges. Like that. And then you just go in there and you paint it with your paint. I use just simple colorings like food colorings and vodka. Now, if you want to cover up a whole space like this, we're going to have to figure out what the dimensions are. So we're going to get a piece of fondant, go like this, and then you have basically a tracer of where you're going to cut. Get your razor, score it, and that's where you should cut. But you didn't glue it first, so that's the trick. Now that you know the basics to making a shoe and creating a fondant, a chocolate, a gum paste shoe, should be easy for you to do at home. Now test on a few of them. You know, it's going to cost you 1 bag of chocolates. And do not fear failing. Failing is your best friend because you learn. Anything up here, you're just going to fold in, and then you can basically just maneuver it. That's what I love about this fondant. Super cool. I use different colors, but you get the drift. So if you put a big patch and you have an awkward size, just put the fondant over it. Do not put the glue first, and measure it out, score it, and then glue and put on there. But super easy. Cover the heel just like I did the Louis Vuitton one. Or you can paint on the chocolate. Completely up to you. I like using Wilton's white buttercream with some vodka and gel color. It really does the trick. Just depending on the consistency or how thick you want the paint. It's completely up to you, but as you see, it's not rubbing off. My hands are already dirty. And to put disco dust or anything of that nature, use your edible glue or Mariglaze and cover your shoe where you want the disco dust, sprinkles, whatever it is you're using. Just keep in mind that if it's blotchy, it's going to come out blotchy as well. So just keep that in mind. And this seems to be coming out blotchy for some reason. It's not cooperating. And then you're going to get your sprinkles, whatever it is you're using. I'm using Bakery Bling's Gold Glitter. And I'm just going and putting it on there. Look at that, gorgeous. Make sure you have parchment paper when you're doing this. And that's how you do a whole shoe, exactly like that. And you just use the edible glue, mirror glaze, whatever it is you're using. And I will have all the information with everything that I used in the description box below. So we were going to leave this shoe nice, pretty, and red, but now it's becoming a golden red shoe, which I don't mind. I love golden red. All right. You want to put enough so that it covers the whole shoe. And there you go, blinged out. Beautiful. All right, so now go make your beautiful shoes. I want to see shiny ones, creative ones, themed ones. All right, now tag me. It's hashtag Candy's Edible Heel Class, or just tag me or hashtag. All right, until next class, you guys.